Hi, everybody. Well, we're on the countdown, and you might even be too busy to even watch this because it's Friday, December 20th, and I'm sure that this last weekend is all a pull it together. Ah, all the stuff that you have to do, we have to do. The expectations have reached a pinnacle. It's just this is for some people, they just love it, but I'm sure that this weekend is filled with lots of activities, the must-dos, the tradition, all of that. Like even the food pull aside, you're faced with like, let's do this and let's do that. When I scratch my head, I wonder if it's the sulfates in shampoo. What do you think? Somebody said that. But anyway, so you've made it this far. Cool. Yeah, really? And so, it's not Norman Rockwell. I'm sure that some people get a little snippy this time of year because it's like, how dare you think that I'm going to be giving you a nice, sweet human answer with a smile? Can't you see all I have to do? Gift cards. So, how can you protect yourself? Now, this weekend is probably, of all the pulls, is probably it's probably just as much pulling as the day before Thanksgiving. Company arrives or you arrive at somebody's house, and Thanksgiving is a big pull. If you busy yourself Friday with shopping, if you did, you're so busy, but then you come home bone tired. And I always, my primal primitive brain always wants to like have 9,000 calories of comfort food after spending a day with crowds doing things. And so now it's all coming home to roost. You've got that, if you're like me, I have that Santa workshop thing downstairs, and just all of the wrapping that needs to be done for things. I wrap even silly little things because I try to make it an event and it gets dragged out. So even when I buy a little dollar item, I wrap it. And Christmas is I get sucked into the expectations, and I do try to make everybody happy because I'm not around my kids and my grandkids as much as I'd like to be because life takes over. And in case of that, then I have a wacky matron job in the middle of the night, along with my driving Uber during the day, and then of course my daughters-in-law and my sons have their fills of kids' activities, kids' parties, kids, must get tos, and they all work a million hours a week too because we live on Cape Cod, and that's how it rolls out. So the pressure and the pull to eat those non-food items that we call comfort foods, isn't that funny? They're non they're non-real foods, and yet most of us at some point had a very active addiction to them, and now here we are going without, be it keto, carnivore, or carnivish. Did I even say who I was? Oh, here we are. Anyway, my name is Sarah, and here we are in the throes of it all. THROES of it all. And so be safe. I know you've got a lot to do. I know, you might be having your little cuppa like I do in the morning. And, you're watching me, and I'm recording, and here we are. And so you want to be safe. You want to be protected. You want to have, the words, no, thank you. I instill those silly little habits that I learned in the 1970s, going to Overeaters Anonymous meetings. And, that stopped a lot of the madness. It took years for it to all sink in. Of course, I still cultivated my addiction thinking that I was maintaining my addiction. I have flashbacks to then, almost, excuse me, 50 years ago, of where it all seemed like, I've got it, I've got it, I've got it. And, the alcohol is 100% abstinent place that I'm at. And it's 100% abstinent place for most alcoholics that are in recovery. And so with food abstinence, I find that being 100% abstinent is sure a whole lot easier than being a percentage abstinent. You know, the when people talk about being mostly carnivore, I can agree, because there are little differences in our food plans that when you say you're 95% carnivore, my OMAD is meat. That's it. And sometimes there's something that goes along with it. I also have, non-dairy creamer in here. So that's part of the mostly carnivore. And I gave up sweeteners. I gave up sugar, of course, entering into low carb, high fat, then keto, and then the carnivore tribe. And I think we're all part of the carnivore tribe. It's just some are more or less. Or, carnivore is definitely an offshoot of keto. It's just a more structured and restricted one. When I look back to my keto eating, I was still eating like the woman that I was doing Weight Watchers, but I had, the sugar alternatives. I had the keto versions of fat bombs and desserts, more casserole-y things. I never got into the keto-fying of the breads and the desserts so much. I just still utilize the keto pizza as the answer to a lot of things on a weekly basis. And I'm down to probably 2 tablespoons of almond flour in the keto pizza, mostly because I'm a Yankee and I still have 2 bags of it, of the almond flour. But we do, I practice a mostly carnivore and it works. When I sit down to my OMAD, a lot of times it's just the steak on the plate. And I do throw in some pork products. I like bacon. I like the Italian sausage. I like pork ribs, and every now and then a pork chop. But it's certainly not as fatty or satiating. So I mix those things up. Every week I say I'm going to have fish, and most every week I don't. But I still plan for it on that one more day of like needing something in the menu. My relationship with eggs has changed. I used to have a couple almost every single day. Big believer in eggs, still am. Just I'm not hankering for them. So my food limitations are mostly meat, mostly beef. And so that hankering for the meat, which is usually ribeye or T-bone from the Brazilian butchery, I, am satisfied and satiated with that. I do have my messy burger day too. And now instead of having the eggs with it, I have smoked organic Gouda from Whole Foods. It's just so divine. That smoked part of an organic cheese really adds a je ne sais pas to my messy burger moments. So, but I'm working on a smoked organic Gouda package now. I love their sliced, packaged organic cheeses. Wonderful inventions. Wonderful. So, I never got into the keto-fying part so much. So I steer clear, especially this whole season of recipes, and for the sweetened kind and then the savory kind. So when I sit down, I've got my hunk of beef, and it just works. The cast iron pan, Greg smokes them and gives them a start on the big green egg on Sunday. And then I finish them in my cast iron pan, usually with bacon grease. And, oh yeah, baby, it just works. And then I'm satiated, and I'm not, as Greg continues his OMAD, which is like a long version, throughout the night with standard American diet things, I'm not even pulled. There's nothing that's pulling me, that's making me feel I'm missing out. The FOMO for me would be to not have beef. That would be the fear of missing out, because I'm so fat beef adapted at this point that this is great. And it's so funny, because if you have an animal, sometimes you may buy variations of the food, especially with persnickety cats, picky cats, And you think that they notice, all right, why are you giving me this salmon wet food 2 days in a row, you know? And I'm happy with my beef 2 days in a row, so it's kind of funny. Well, it's time for me to go. It is December 20th. The list, doesn't it seem to grow longer? Like everything that you tackle just means there's another one behind it that needs to be done, right? So hang in there. Food is not an option. Food is not a stress reliever. Food is not the answer for anything that ails you. No. Find other things. Go wrap another present or do something or smile at somebody. Be nice to a sales clerk. They're really being beaten up this time of year. I'm so glad you're here. I love my keto carnivore carnivish food family. You know, it just rocks. And we learn from each other and we, you know, I couldn't do it without you guys. Let me just put it that way. And so I'm glad you're here. Enjoy the day. It's going to be a busy weekend. I know. I know. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye for now.